name is BenFlyingRetro, and I'm embarking on a quest to purchase every classic GI Joe comic from the original 80s and 90s Marvel run. Warning. Hunting down individual issues from every corner of the globe in whatever order the universe decides to give me. Join me and my pal Steve every week as we discuss my latest find. Welcome to Chasing Joe. Chasing Joe. Whoa, it is that time of your week, that time of our week. It is Chasing Joe, episode 10. I'm BenFlyingRetro, joined always by my good buddy
S-Jub7.
Yes! Tracking a man doing the Marvel ARA run, all 155 issues, 1982 to 1994. We've made it. We've done 10 episodes. Is that an anniversary? I don't know.
It absolutely is. It really crept up on us, Ben.
Time flies. I'm already 10 issues down into this quest.
And we're 10 weeks into this quest.
When
you say it like that, it feels like a chunk of time. I feel like this is a very young podcast. Like it only just started. But 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Right, man.
I think it was sunny when we started, and it is not sunny now in the UK. That is for sure.
Well, I always podcast at night time, so I wouldn't know.
I feel
Sun
like
never shines on my show.
Every week, my plushes are kind of building up until 1 week. It would just be my head surrounded by giant plushies.
Okay, we got Kirby. We got an octopus. Is that from something specific?
No, very not specific. That's just Squiddy.
It's just kawaii.
Yeah, Kirby, who is now on my arm as well. Never played the game.
All right. For those who care, give us a running commentary.
Okay.
No. Let's talk about the ink. It's to be a segment on the show now.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I don't like. Why is there nothing there?
Once again, Ben's showing us his under. What? No,
dude,
radius or ulna? Which one is the bone that goes underneath?
You just got medical on us.
Oh,
wow.
Try. But yes,
well, look,
under the forearms.
I'm booked in.
Random place to have a tat.
I'm booked in for more. Fully addicted. Got no problem with admitting that I'm addicted. Every man needs a vice.
I like the niche that you've carved yourself. It's not flaming skulls. It's not like tribal.
It's not spiritual.
These are just literally the glyphs of your youth.
I know. Me and Ems were discussing on the pod that, if it was sort of Cadbury's Dairy Milk and other brands, it would be so strange. But look, these IPs and pop culture seem to mean something to our generation. Otherwise,
well, then hit me up with what's the fresh ink gonna be? Like, what designs do you have in mind? What's left to be plumbed?
I've got more Link from Zelda happening. I've got one that I'm a little bit concerned about. It's the Colonial Space Marines logo.
I'm trying to picture it.
I guess it's a play on the sort of American flag-ish.
Oh yeah, it's got stars.
It's got like 4 stars. I just want something to do with the film Aliens, and I don't really want a xenomorph. Is xenomorph a real word?
The icons of Aliens. Wayland Yutani has a...
I mean, that is such a deep cut, isn't it? If I started doing that. Fictional corporations.
Yeah.
And where do you stop? Then do you do Skynet?
There's one from Blade Runner. What is that one called?
Tyrell
Corp. That's it.
Tyrell Corp.
So
what is it with these evil corporations?
It starts looking more like endorsements then.
Yeah.
Like you're a race car and you've got all these fictional like company brandings on you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I mean, it doesn't mean as much to me. What is it? The Umbrella Corporation from Resident Evil?
You're not a Resident Evil fan?
Yeah, I am. I like the first couple on the PS1, but am I a fan enough to get... I don't know. I don't want to be covered in villainous...
random things, like an umbrella.
Well, these are all...
like, are you a fan of the Penguin?
All of these logos, they're the enemy in these IPs.
The enemies always just had the cool like
by the
symbols. The Cobra symbol. Getting back to GI Joe. GI Joe never had anything as iconic as that. Sure, they had stars, they had the tricolor, but the Cobra symbol is perfection branded.
Yeah, but when do you ever love anything about the goodies? Like, you're always drawn to the enemy, aren't you? And they always have, like, it's like Star Wars, that they have the cool factor. Like,
they have the cool factor, but I always played the goodies. So as cool as the baddies were, they were only ever targets to be shot down.
Your moral compass is just resolute.
I guess I just loved the process. The good guys have a briefing. They have a mission. They have an objective. They have an insertion method. They get to the objective. They achieve the objective. They exfil. They get the hostages. They plant the bug, as we're going to find out in this issue. Oh, have I tipped my hand?
Whoa!
But the good guys just have all the stages to go through, whereas the bad guys, I mean, how often do you like conceive a mission as the baddies and play it out? You got to really be a villain at heart to do that in-depth level of gameplay.
Yeah, they're very reactive, I guess, and they're very one-note.
I just think bad guys are best when they're a kind of a more... they have an anonymity about them. They come in out of nowhere. They do something devilish. They disappear. And then it's the good guy's job to pick up the pieces and tear after them.
Yeah.
There's just far more gameplay to be had with the goodies. Anyways.
Speaking of the good guys, my postman is a good guy. He's been... So, what do you think came from the delivery gods for episode 10? It is a special episode. Let's see if we got a special comic book.
Oh.
Now, what can I say?
Their hand.
What can I say as I open this? Okay, I can tell you that this is eBay.
Etsy takes a break for a week.
Etsy takes a break. Okay. Copious amounts of bubble wrap.
Oh, my son would love you.
What is going on? That's not a real American hero. That's a Special Missions book, S-Jubs.
It is indeed. Special Missions issue 7.
Yes.
Chuckles, Lady J, and another Joe on propeller-driven gliders.
Have we gone off-piste here? I think we have. I said we're doing the 155, but look, Special Missions, 28 issues, started in 1986 as, well, I think it was running, was it bi-monthly initially? And then I think it possibly actually ended up being a monthly book, S-Jubs.
Well, I've got, this is incredible. So you got me on a comic buying tip.
Yes, I have.
I'm more of a target of opportunity kind of guy. If a comic book crosses my path at a price that I'm willing to pay in the flesh, I'll pick it up. Those are my rules. I have to encounter it in the wild.
But
and it has to be cheap enough for a cheapskate like me. So I do have my own copy of issue 7 to hand.
But how are you stumbling into issue 7 of GI Joe Special Missions in the wild?
Straya, baby. It's a big place.
Okay, well, I need the story. I mean, I just don't... The comic shops here, they're not going to have back issues of G.I. Joe. Are you trying to tell me that I need to get myself over to Australia?
I guess you do, baby, because the deals are here to be had. We're going to play the price game in a minute. But just to clear up, this Special Missions number 7 is dated October of 1987. And then the very next issue number 9... is dated February of 1988. So that's more than 2 months.
Interesting, but don't forget the dates mean nothing. So this book actually came out in June of 1987. So you can ignore the October all day long.
I just imagine that because they both have cover dates that are like 3 months apart. Maybe that had some bearing on their release schedule. Either way, the internet could put us out of our misery right here and now. But
for sure,
these definitely aren't coming out month to month. These are special indeed.
Yes. Now, are we led to believe that ARA was just doing so goddamn well that they were like, guys, we got to release more Joe books?
Special Missions 0 was a backup story in issue 50 of GI Joe.
Correct.
And
Is that the one on the plane?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beachhead Lady Jane Flint on the plane, while Hawk and Stalker do some work on the ground. Now,
Yes.
that was probably at GI Joe's sales high of highs.
Yeah.
And the sales strength, I suppose, propelled the book into getting a second title, just to milk as much cash as possible. But like, you can feel that high watermark was slowly eroded, until Special Missions got culled, and then a couple of years later, the line was over.
But look, 28 issues, that is not too shabby.
Not
28 unique issues. Now look, I'm going to be...
some of the best stories G.I. Joe ever yielded.
Damn straight.
Some people, I mean, depending on who you ask.
One and done. These little excursions. Now, I am not buying runs of ARA, but as you just said, an opportunity came up on eBay to snag all 28 special missions. Because they go
to guess the bulk buy price.
They go for quite an annoying amount individually, and
yes.
This person accepted such a crazy offer that I was like, okay, I'm just going to get these done. And what we'll do on this show is we will just lucky dip every now and again. So what I've done is I've taken the total price and then divided it by 28. So what I need you to do is guess the job lot price in sterling for the special mission. So that's 28 comics, S-Jubs.
28 comics, I'm going to say it will average out to...
No, not the average. Just give me the lump sum.
Yeah, the lump sum. I'm working it out live
for
your ears. So
well,
I was going to say it would be about £5 a book.
I've got a calculator.
£140.
Wow, S-Jubs goes in so big, and I love that about you, buddy. It was £45. £45. Now look,
lovely.
let's fire up the Casio. So 45. Where's divide? It's the top one. Divided by 28 equals.
Got them for about £1.50 each.
£1.60. S-Jubs, you're a little bit off, but that's where the Casio comes in.
10 pence. Well,
so let's put
that probably is exactly the same as what I paid for this book, which was 4 Australian dollary dues.
Oh, I would have liked to have guessed that.
Dingo, mate. Oh, I'm sorry. Denied.
How many cans of Foster's, buddy? Now look, I put 2 years of my life into that beautiful country, and another year on top of that traveling. So I have a lot of love for that place. Now I'm putting this into my my spreadsheet. So the running total after 10 episodes is £71.04. That equates to $92 US. And that includes 2 donations. So how do you feel I'm doing? £71, 10 episodes. That's probably tracking quite high.
Look, but it's going to come down. The average is going to come down a little bit.
Included in there is an issue 1, and
yes.
I don't know. We've done a couple in the first 10, haven't we? We've done, maybe 2. So
especially since you've got 28 special missions issues for only $3 each, $4 each.
Yeah, that's crazy. So every time you won't need to guess the price on special missions going forward because they are all £1.60. That is so good. I mean, these are like on sort of eBay in the UK. These are kind of like £7-8, around there.
Desirable.
And they're all in such good condition. I think I've got an absolute steal there.
Yeah. Well done, Benjamin.
Yeah, man. So look, you can still get good deals on eBay. It's rare, but they are out there.
You can still get good deals at Australian toy shows.
Yeah. That is fairly random, S-Jubs.
Oh, I got a whole stack of books.
I was going to say, anything else there?
Plenty, but we'll only find out as we reach them in Chasing Joe. It's nice to have it physically in my hands. You're going to do the smell test.
It's such an old bag, this. Honestly. It's like yellow. Yeah, it's yellow.
Nice.
And okay, I'm going to smell this. I like to smell them differently now. So wait. I just... it's like some sort of comic book sauna. Oh, crikey. It smells like... it smells like your PE kit, you know, when you come home on a Friday and you got damp PE kit.
Wow,
that's like
reaching back the sands of time, man.
Yeah, it's sort of like damp. And
when was the last time you had PE?
Well, a long time ago, but I've got 3 kids that have it like 3 times a week. So Friday is wash day and it's bleak. One of them's 14, so you know, all kinds of smells.
Musty. I think my old school PE rooms probably still smells the same. Smells like the 1960s, man. Medicine balls and rope and all that old stuff.
PE in Cape Town. Is that where you grew up? Yeah, you grew up in Cape Town.
Correctamundo.
Yeah. And you're back there soon.
December.
Oh wow, that's the homecoming.
Home sweet home, baby, for a nice long stint. I will be playing with all my old toys.
We find
Chips Ahoy on the back of this comic book.
With a Mike Zeck cover. Mike Zeck and John R. Beatty. What does that mean? They're sat down drawing it together?
I was going to pass judgment and say that means a wasted art team, because it ain't doing much for me, if I'm honest.
Well,
these 3 gliders.
I tell you what, it's doing everything for this guy. You gotta be. I mean, honestly, you give me a cityscape at nighttime with a purple hue, I'll get out of town. I mean, I would like more of that lovely golden kind of New York, like the harbor over there. I would like more of that. But wow, I'm so surprised this isn't doing anything for you.
I think it comes down to these rather awkward gliders.
Yeah,
I know they at least show they are borrowing at least some of the structure of the classic Falcon glider from 1983, the sort of foam. I mean, they were never marketed and sold in the UK, certainly not in South Africa, but they do exist, and they're a brittle affair. Like, they're extremely difficult to find in good nick because it's just foam board. And so these are those, but with these weird, like, propellers on the back.
Household
and
fans.
The characters have these sort of handholds, and they've got their legs stiffly kind of outstretched in like a kind of a Superman point, but there's nothing to support the legs.
They've got very strong lower backs.
Many questions for me.
Well, look, they look a damn sight better there than they do in the interiors. They're about 7 times the size. The fans are strange, but the sort of stealthy infiltration, it gets me extremely excited about reading the issue, just because of the scene that they are setting and that lovely Cobra insignia on the building there. They're heading to that roof. I mean,
that was a weird choice. I wonder, I assume Zeck had access to the interior art and he based his designs on what Trimpy was doing on the inside. But like, this is a toy that was no longer sold. They could have done any design, really.
Right.
But they went with this, and it's.
I would say at that altitude, Chuckles, his nipples would be able to cut glass. He's just in his shirt. Do you know what I mean? I didn't think about, the fact that their legs are straight but not being supported in any way, which means they must be flexing their abs and lower back like crazy. Although the reality is they've actually only hopped from the adjacent roof. So that's why I was surprised that they needed I was like, why do they need these fans?
Yeah, and then they set them to like fly off and ditch in the river. Like, why didn't they just kind of, I don't know, create like some kind of zip line, Batman style, like zip along, grapple hooks and stuff. I don't know.
That's interesting. I'd say that's the first time we've sort of disagreed on a cover, because I do enjoy this cover.
Okay.
I do enjoy it. How do you feel about the special missions font? I mean, it's exactly the same as the GI Joe font.
Look, nothing's going to be as strong as one bar of text.
Yeah.
So you'll agree. It's diminished the GI Joe, but putting the special missions in the same font, it's strong, man. Strong font.
Yeah.
It makes special missions into a brand. These aren't just words.
Yes. You feel like you're holding something different. It's exciting. It's like, oh, what is this offshoot?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's open up the interior. Oh, what was on the back? Oh, it's just more cookies. Okay, fine.
Yeah, cool little game. Little Chips Ahoy.
I think Chips Ahoy are probably winning the back advert count. It seems to be every other issue. The old switcheroo. Now, when I was reading these first 4 or 5 pages, I was just getting the heist music from Heat. Just ticking over. I was quite excited by the first 5 pages, the setup of this kind of infiltration, the Cobra, I don't know, what is he? He's just on the gate there, but he's got a cap with the gold peak.
Sort of bellhop or security guy.
What are we saying? This building is it's
Cobra
almost
consulate.
The consulate, yeah. So
yes. Cobra Island received sovereignty at the hands of Cobra lawyers, and as a result, they were granted a diplomatic consulate building in the middle of Manhattan.
Yeah,
a real world location, Ben. It's your favorite thing. And I never thought about it until now, but that first page is so detailed.
Oh,
you got rubbish on the streets. You got a guy on his bicycle. You got bystanders. You got these 2 trucks. Time check, 5:42 p.m. A timestamp. It's a lot of detail work going in from Mr. Trimpy.
Yeah, and I read
no loading zone.
I read it kind of in a cinematic way. You've just got these quick cuts of the truck going in.
Do you feel like it owes something to the opening of Die Hard?
Yes,
not the opening, not the airport, but when you start seeing Nakatomi Plaza and the trucks and the Beamer coming in. Well, no, it's Mercedes.
I just love all the the looking at your watch, and then these beautiful shots of the interior where they're sort of in this blue, and you've got the daylight outside. Very cool. Actually,
these bad guys look business, man. Whoever's assaulting this Cobra consulate, badasses.
Yeah, that was one of my points, actually. I wanted to get your opinion on.
But then it quickly turns around.
Oh, yeah. Of course,
they're actually yuppies with submachine guns. I didn't actually do a summary of this issue, I'm afraid. So everyone's just going to be a little bit blind on this one. Unless you'd like to try your hand, Ben.
Well, I was going to say the red headband 80s youth, that just smacks of so many sort of 80s films and 80s video games.
Are you thinking Red Dawn?
Yeah. Is that what it was? I didn't actually make that connection, but now, yes.
Well, no, video games definitely. But it's the Rambo thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you got a lot of sort of dark-haired individuals with black headbands.
Because the fact that sort of GI Joe are already so antithetic to Cobra, do you welcome and enjoy other opposing, forces, like other people having beef with Cobra? Do you enjoy things like this, or do you wish?
Because it expands upon the world, whereas the main title is very much focused on well, when it's not the Snake Eyes soap opera, it's very much focused on the machinations of Cobra and G.I. Joe's response. This builds, like Special Missions particularly, builds in political powers, both domestic. So you've got the CIA being featured a lot in Special Missions. You've got the Russians, the Soviet Union being featured a lot in Special Missions. The sort of satellite Soviet states as well.
Yeah.
And then you've got these kind of other political forces. Like these guys are Sierra Gordon, like counter revolutionaries. These are like the educated elite who want to install themselves as the powerful members of Sierra Gordo until they can educate the underclass to then be able to take part in a democratic process, which is so incredibly like highfalutin and complex.
Yeah.
Special Missions is a dense read, always.
The shot that you've got there with the Cobra Trooper, sort of just the ragdoll effect. Are we meant to think that those are shells coming out of his AK or bits of his body?
Gosh.
Because why would there be shell? And so I just love there's just so many, their hats just come off all the time. So there's 3 hats on that page.
No one bothers with a chin strap in Cobra.
Yeah, I just love that kick to the midsection. Is just so powerful that his hats come off. Oof. Yeah, this is fun. This is all. I'm on board here. I'm having fun. I'm like, oh, okay.
My speculation is this is Trimpy getting around the Comics Code, regulations when it comes to showing bloodshed.
Yes.
Like these are kind of stipples of almost debris coming off this Cobra Trooper who's unfortunately being riddled.
Oh,
being absolutely ventilated
at close quarters as well.
Yeah. So instead of having a blood splatter sort of coming off his back, he's got these spatterings of black. Maybe it's just the inker who thought, let me show a bit more dynamism to this panel. There's got to be something coming off the Cobra Trooper who's being gunned down.
I found it really exciting, the visuals of Cobra reacting to this insurgent and sort of scrambling the Vipers. And
yes, the Vipers being treated as like a riot squad.
Yes, but my
Baroness's
God, they look so good.
Guys.
They look so good, and I don't know if this is like an inking mistake or like the first time you see him running down. It's just, is that intentional? Because it looks so badass, but it's
all the dark ink. His front is completely kind of blacked out.
It's absolutely amazing.
I imagine Trimpy might have illustrated more there, but the inker thought, let me make an artistic choice and just pick out the grenades, a bit of the buckling.
I mean, is that the best Viper you've ever seen drawn? It's incredible.
It's up there. And it has a cool detail that the toy never had. Maybe on some sort of production models or early artworks it had. It seemed to be adopted primarily by the comic book artists, and that's the sort of skull motif on his shirt.
Yeah.
His shirt sleeve.
Yes. See it.
Yeah.
They're so ready for action, these guys. Do you think they ever pull the goggles down on top of the faceplate?
I saw a video game, a fan project video game. It was a patch for Armor 3. Which is a sort of a military simulation. Yeah. And it had a Viper helmet modeled. And in this model, the face shield could actually kind of recede into the helmet. And that's when the goggles would become useful.
Right. Okay. I was going to say, I mean, I've got no interest in a Viper that doesn't have those goggles. They are everything to me.
Yeah.
The colorway on a Viper is brilliant, but I lament the Viper because I don't know if this tracks for anyone else in the UK. These were hard to get, these buggers.
I'm sure.
I didn't have one. I didn't know anyone that had one, and I always struggled to find out how you'd play with them. Like, where would they fit into the hierarchy of Cobra troops? And I feel like they suit this sort of setting really, really well. It's like, okay, this building is populated. We've got some regular Cobra troopers, but if anything happens, we've got like 25 Vipers here fully kitted out. There's an urbanness to them. I mean, how would you play? Oh, do you know what it is? It's the sleeveless vibe with them. It's so cool.
Yeah. Very strong.
Where do they
design.
where do they fit in to Cobra for you?
Step up from blue shirts.
Just one step up from the blue shirts and a step below
a specialized Viper.
A specialized Viper.
Heat frag.
So they're almost like
alley.
You know what, the sort of Cobra Troopers would be regular army, and these guys are like Rangers or Marines. They're just like another cut above.
I think the blue shirt is basic Cobra uniform for everything.
Yeah.
Whether your duty is to hold a rifle, or if you're balancing books or cleaning toilets, like the grunt of the Cobra world is the blue shirt. If you have a flair for infantry, if you are, you know, a life taker and a heartbreaker, you get the upgrade. You get the Viper uniform.
Yeah.
These guys are more tactical. And then from there, your options open up to specialize.
But they're
assault Viper and be a real badass.
Do you feel like those grenades on their chest are grenades or like smoke grenades? They just feel it's probably because of the setting of this book, but they seem to fit a more urban environment so much better than playing with them in the jungle or the desert or something like that.
But that's the thing about Cobra. They don't give no fucks.
No,
they will wear Cobra blue in the desert. It's that intimidation factor, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Never underestimate the power of branding.
What have they got going on? Where's their feet in this book? I can't see their feet. Hold up your toy again.
All right.
What
Flicking
are
around
they rocking? Big wellies, essentially, or?
Let's go.
There we go.
Big style. Okay. They have jack boots. They have knee highs with knee pads.
It's a beautiful fig.
It's taking notes from Cobra Commander with the mirror face. It's taking notes from Mindbender with the high boots. I mean, you almost expect to see what are they? Spurs on the back, but no, they're just very immaculately buckled over the top. Head to toe, the Viper is perhaps the strongest Cobra figure ever produced. I'll say that on record.
I think you could be right. I think you could be right, and I don't have him, and I never did.
Boo.
Ouch.
This one I got from the UK.
You need a couple for sure. You need 3 or 4.
In your backyard. I bought them from the UK, man.
Stop coming down to Bournemouth and doing trades outside the train station
in England. Dude,
you think it's cheap? Well, maybe.
I think it's cheap. I mean, he didn't come with any of his gear, but I've got a few extra backpacks, and I don't mind arming him with an AK instead
Give
of
me
standard.
A year of release for the Viper.
1986.
Yeah, that's right in my wheelhouse. They're tough to get. I never
saw them in South Africa. But
I wonder if other people in the UK can relate to me, or if it might just be me. I don't know. But yeah, what a shame. I've never done any kind of play with one or anything. Oh, that breaks the heart. But back to this issue, the fact that Cobra have this building and it's just in regular New York, I think opens up so many amazing possibilities. Like, I like the shot of the dude in the blue jacket, just a guy that works there, probably just doing like data entry or something, you know, but he's got the blazer with the big insignia. And it's like, is he popping out to get a bagel? Just working at Cobra? Like, everyone walking past this building must be like, okay, this is weird.
It seems like all the worker bees also do the Cobra branding quite heavily. When they're evacuating the building, when it's sort of revealed that these counter revolutionaries are serious about their plot and are going to blow up the support structures of the building and causing it to fall down, I'm working in a on-the-fly summary as we go. You've got like this chick with Cobra earrings kind of sounding the alarm, telling everyone to get out. You got a dude with this big old blue jacket with a Cobra symbol on the lapel. It's like, if you're seen on the street outside this consulate and you've got that symbol on you, You're marked as a terrorist, surely.
I think you're getting a big milkshake thrown at you.
Yeah, at the least.
At the very least, yeah. Now, we've spoken a lot about Cobra in this book and revolutionaries, but we haven't mentioned any Joes yet. Who are the players we're dealing with? There's a couple of teams. There's a roof team, and there's a subterranean tunnel team.
This issue can be distinguished as one of the first and only appearances of both notable G.I. Joe-like radio men working on the same mission.
Dial Tone and Psych Out.
Dial Tone and Breaker. Dial Tone was very much Breaker's 1986 replacement as like an RTO guy. Breaker kind of gets phased out, but this was a mission that needed both of them. Breaker to kind of patch in to Cobra Consulate's, I suppose, closed circuit TV from the sewers, and Dial Tone to actually plant the bug, the listening device, which is the whole object of this mission. This whole exercise is actually a G.I. Joe master scheme to plant a little electronic ear on the top of the Cobra Consulate building.
I'm telling you, dude, New York City, in the 80s, that you don't want to be anywhere near a sewer. Those guys down there are in it.
That's Tunnel Rat's speciality. His time to shine, baby.
Yeah, he's
covered
shining in a river of... That is short straw, but he is called Tunnel Rat, so he's going to get that detail a lot. Psych Out on the roof. He is pure science fiction, baby. The get-up is everything.
And yet, he has a
strange dialogue.
Believable moment. Because they've got an on-staff psychologist to basically determine what Baroness would do under certain circumstances.
Yes.
And if she does what Psych-Out predicts her to do, then the mission is a go. It's like his go-ahead is what determines whether the mission's a bust or not.
It's difficult to
work him in, but Larry did it.
I was going to say, it's difficult to get his dialogue out without it sounding clunky, but yeah, interesting.
It's for our benefit, but it's also for Chuckles' benefit, I guess. Like, he needs certainty that... I mean, this plan... I don't want to attempt a summary simply because this plan is so contrived. It is basically like so many things have to happen in sequence, and all the parties need to believe certain fictions for this to have an even sliver of a chance of working. So Psych-Out was the magic bean of this issue. He kind of determined that this was the most likely scenario to play out. We needed him. And this is kind of his one and only real opportunity to shine in that role, I'm going to say.
Yeah. I have Psych Out. What do you have? I've got the Tiger Force version.
Oh, you do you?
Yeah. Never had
white
this
booties.
guy. Never had this guy.
My first Psych Out was Night Force Psych Out, who I think is the best deco of the lot. He's very much more subdued. He has brown hair. I mean, what a random circumstance that, like, Tiger Force Psych Out, black hair, original Psych Out, blonde, and Night Force, brunette.
But that's why don't you love Tiger Force Outback because of the white hair change as well?
Yeah, I feel it distinguishes him better.
Hair changes is fun. Why not?
Well, it does put him on a tier that no other G.I. Joe has reached. It's like,
so Psych Out has 3 hair changes.
Well, clearly psychological warfare even goes into his hair coloring.
He's going down to the salon and getting foils.
I'm going to keep you guys guessing.
But look, you've got some big beef with the gliders on the cover of this book. I mean, I can only imagine your beef escalates when you see them on the interiors, because it almost looks like down here in Bournemouth, we've got a pier on the beach, and like once a year they do that thing where you build a contraption and cycle off the pier and see how far you can go. That's what these look like. It looks like they've pedaled them off the roof.
They can't possibly work, right?
The angles of them are bizarre. I mean, they look like they weigh a ton.
My belief is that this design never really worked as a toy either. Like, these gliders were junk. I'm happy for someone out there to prove me wrong.
What are the really cool ones that you had recently?
The 90s ones, they fly pretty well. And they're made of a very, very durable sort of plastic sheet that is then like plastic riveted in on itself to form like this very, very streamlined and good shape for flight.
You picked one up at a toy fair or something and you shot a video of running around a park, no?
Yes.
A while ago.
GI Joburg's biggest fan.
I always thought that those were there 2 variants of that glider, yeah?
There
3?
Are 6.
There's 6.
3 Joes, 3 Cobras.
I always thought the colorways.
Are you talking about the old one?
No, the one that you're running around the park with.
All right. Yes, the 90s Air Commandos gliders.
I thought the colorways on those were so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful designs.
And you know, they fit that kind of nighttime stealth mission way more than these things. There's something quite Roger Moore about these, actually.
Yes, they're quite old school and fuddy-duddy.
Dial Tone, I mean, he should have a cigar, really.
But James, I need you.
Yeah.
So does England.
If Dial Tone lifted up his back legs a few inches, I mean, zoom, they're coming off.
It's weird.
I was about to say that Lady J has absolutely nothing to do in this book, but then she does get to impersonate Baroness in the end.
And I will also say that structurally, Trimpe's put in a bit more furniture for the gliders. Like, they do have supports to keep their legs up.
Oh, yeah.
Which Zek ignores for the sake of keeping the gliders compact and not the focus of the cover. But still, it's a weird look as a result. I'm sure we can all agree.
Yeah. Do you enjoy Zorana in this?
She is eating a bunch of grapes and just enjoying watching the fur fly.
I know. Yeah.
Everything
She's trolling
to gain.
Baroness.
Yeah, she has everything to gain by seeing Baroness undone. And she comes very close to seeing it. She's gloating in front of Serpentor.
That's my favorite. That's kind of like photo bombing.
Yeah,
they're on a Zoom chat and she's just messing around.
Yeah,
I feel like Baroness would actually just shoot her, but yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting
but she has the protection of Serpentor. I think, and I hate to invoke context, but at this point in G.I. Joe history, she has been given almost command responsibilities, and she's like second to Baroness. She's been given the Cobra Consulate as something that she's going to co-run with Baroness.
Yeah.
So if Baroness turns around and shoots her, she's not going to be in the good graces of Serpentor.
There's something sort of jarring about this issue, and then you get those shots of Serpentor that almost bring you back to the more A-Ra vibes. You're like, oh yeah, look, of course, there's the big guy himself.
Still alive.
And I quite enjoy the way he's been drawn there as well. You know, he appears 3 times, and each 3 of those images are incredible. And
doesn't give too much away either. Like, Trimpe very much obscures Serpentor in his uniform. Like, the mouth of the snake is totally engulfing his face. He's even taking time to draw the eyes of the snake hood, which is something not all artists do.
Yeah.
To kind of give more of Serpentor's actual face and not the uniform. So he really does look like this serpent creature sort of swallowing a man.
Do you imagine that
strange look.
On any given day, any Cobra could be in that building for any particular reason? Almost like, I feel like there'd be civilians out there that would be, you know, have a darkness in them that were like, oh, look, did you see, like, Crocmaster just walked into the Cobra Consulate? Or, do you know what I mean? Or do you think
there are, like, paparazzi members camped outside? Like,
that's what I mean.
To get a glimpse.
Do you think it is mainly just sort of dignitaries and, like, almost like civil servants for Cobra operating in that building. Although you've got on that particular day, you've got Mindbender in there, Baroness, Serana. I just imagine, you're just doing data entry and then you're like, oh my God, Big Boa's here.
Sure. I'm sure 99.9% of the occupants are like Cobra pencil pushers.
Yeah, but with eyes
security.
on maybe, elevating themselves and actually like, how far does this go?
So they get starstruck every time they see like a named Cobra baddie rocking their amazing uniforms.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know why I
can
want
only
it to
imagine
be like
Mindbender
that.
being quite a visual onslaught, like this, like wrestler.
Definitely is midsection. I mean, a visual onslaught. That is such a good way to describe Mindbender. I like him kind of with all his maps in this book as well. All his like papers, just like, chaos.
Oh man, yeah. No, he's a mess.
I mean, of all the special missions that I could have pulled out of the Lucky Dip, this is possibly one of the weaker ones, you could argue, S-Jubs.
And why would you argue that, Ben?
Because I think I was sucked in by the cover and I was like, nighttime, I'll take this. And then when I started flicking
you were
through
expecting that cool night infiltration. What you got was GI Joe playing a very duplicitous game, like
massively. I thought I was getting
very
an
convoluted
insertion.
plot to do something that was so like unexciting, like planting a bug.
Yeah. Well, we should talk about the ending as well, because that is exactly what they do. And where are the headband renegades left at the end of all of this?
Presumably coughing their guts out because the plastic explosive that they bought from Chuckles turned out to be CS gas.
Yeah. So have they got beef with GI Joe now?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think which side Cobra was propping up in Sierra Gordo. Cobra was very much propping up the government that was there already.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And GI Joe wanted to back the counter-revolutionaries to take back the country.
Oh, high concept. It's great. I'm there for it, S-Jubs. Why not? Also, when did they sort of stop doing the whole New York Cobra consulate building?
Why are you doing this to me, man? We're talking about Special Mission 7.
I feel like they just dropped that at some point.
Snake Eyes trilogy results in the Cobra consulate having a massive, massive fire.
Okay.
The top levels get burnt out.
Right.
But Cobra continues to use it as a meeting place. In fact, that's where Cobra Commander holds himself up, where he has a face-to-face confrontation with Snake Eyes. Yeah.
And it's not the Cobra, it's the cut in issue 21, Silent Interlude. That's not the consulate, is it?
That would be in Transcarpathia, which is a kind of a Romania analog, I think.
Yeah.
Transylvania analog.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's in the highlands of Europe.
Yeah, I've given up my search on that issue just for a little bit because...
Cool your jets, man. We've got 3 years of podcasts in this pursuit or more.
Yeah.
It'll come.
Didn't you have some news on 155?
You do?
No, I know I do, but I don't want to give that news here. But I thought you... Oh, no, you already own it. What am I on about?
I have 155. What I got... Oh, well, you've forced me.
This is good, S-Jubs, because you're chasing Joe just as much as I'm chasing it. You don't have a full run.
I'm not chasing it. And I'm letting it come my way. I'm dipping my toes into the stream and having little fishies nibble.
Yeah, but don't dip your toes in, but don't dip your books in. They're all waterlogged, S-Jubs.
This one's boarded and bagged. This is issue 153.
That's a pricey one.
I believe so. How much did I pay for it? You can guess this time.
Okay, well, I mean, I reckon that's a £50 book on eBay, maybe more. So, I mean, there's absolutely no way that you would be paying that for it. I reckon you've paid 20 Australian dollars.
$4.
Stop it, S-Jubs, with these deals.
That's why you can't do the guessing game, because they're all $4. I got a lot. Each book was $4.
You're killing me. How are you $4? And how many in the lot?
I've got a stack of about 12 books here. Oh, this issue particularly, and let's use that term we love, cosmic coincidence. So I have the Action Force annual.
So do I now.
Havoc on it, and so do you now. Did you see which story happens to be the first one? You haven't even opened it, have you, Ben?
Oh my God. I've actually opened it loads, but I skip straight to Havoc in the Outback.
The Havoc Pro story. Well,
I'm thinking
Old Switcheroo issue 7 of Special Missions is the first story in this Action Force annual, and you can read all the kind of areas where they've changed GI Joe to Action Force. You can read it.
That's so
in the
cool.
King's English, as it were.
I also bought the annual that came out before or after that with Flint and Destro on it. Have you got that one?
Yes, you showed me the cover.
Yeah, I think that maybe that's the one before that one.
I think so.
Yeah.
Lovely things. What's a Christmas time without an annual?
Totally. Emma is actually the good wife. She wants to release like a fanzine, but in the style of like these old annuals.
Hardbound.
Well, I don't know if that's possible, but certainly having the kind of similar sort of layout.
It's got to be a stiff
Look at that.
parcel under the Christmas tree. It's got to be something you can't bend.
And it has to have it has to have this annual belongs to as well.
Oh yeah, that page. Yes.
Some of the ones that I've got such nice messages in from like people's aunties, and
you can even put your photo in there.
Get it? Well, yours should be in there.
Whoopsie. Well, the previous owners should be in there. Hey, Jim. Come on, boy.
Well, look, I think that's all I've got to say about GI Joe Special Missions issue 7. But, I think we'll sprinkle these in like some little special mission dust every now and again. We've got 27 to get through over the next 3 years. God, we're on a journey, S-Jubs. Jeez.
Wow.
It
doesn't skip a
wild.
beat.
Yeah.
Chasing Joe is going to be with you through thick and thin.
Yeah.
Giving you one old school trip back to GI Joe lore 1 week at a time.
I've bought so many that I can cool my jets now. I can just keep them sort of idling on the runway. But
Dude.
What you said, I do want to have these cosmic coincidences. I do want things to come my way, and they have with donations, but I need to get out there, boots on the ground. I've got to get in the trenches. I want to get some issues like in hand. It's just very difficult to find those opportunities. I just don't know how you're doing it.
Well, every once in a while, Facebook Marketplace also helps because...
and then you actually go to...
And I go and I sample the goods.
Oh my God, you actually go round there and you knock on the door.
There's a sweetness to this book.
Wait, well, no. Well, yeah, that's Phoenix's gym socks.
You smell like gym socks. Mine smells like, I don't know, like a sweet wood.
There's people having heart attacks at what we're doing to the spine of this book.
Let them. $4.
Let them. Spine ticks ahoy.
My threshold of quality or of condition is a lot lower than yours, perhaps, Ben.
Well,
I will
mine was
accept
actually
a book that is, with its cover slightly hanging off of its staples.
Mine was tested recently.
Okay.
Mine was tested, and I did a rebuy. I was like, I actually can't have this in my collection. So yeah, I do have a threshold. Well, the book arrived and it was being held together by Scotch tape.
Oh no.
Can't have that.
You can't have that.
No.
I would accept for $4.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you don't know how badly your books are water damaged because you haven't got them in hand. But
they were pretty ragged when I left them, Ben.
yeah,
Like, these are the books that survived my childhood. They were the books that I poured over while I was having my grubby mitts around, like, a pie, chicken pie,
yeah,
tomato sauce. Like, they are, yeah.
yeah. So, what are you saying, that you think a lot of those are?
They'll be fine.
Yeah,
For my purposes,
I worry
for
you.
And the fact that they are my childhood books means a lot. That's priceless. They've earned their scars.
Yeah, it's exactly the same with the toys as well, isn't? There's something about, you rebuy a toy that you had or that you need in your collection, but you cannot get that feeling of the ones that were yours, and you have all that play history. It feels like it's baked into you and the toy, and there's a relationship between that specific one. So,
as far as I'm concerned, everything that I've bought as an adult are just accessory to my childhood collection.
That's totally it.
They are just background. My main guys have been my same main guys since I was a wee.
So good. Yeah.
Some of them are even here with me in Australia.
From the blister pack to your hands.
Took them on the road. Took them on the plane.
Yeah, because you're spread over. Like, you've got Joe collections in multiple places.
It's maddening, but I have a pretty cool system.
Oh, okay. You rotate.
Only the best hits are here with me.
The choice cuts, the fillets.
And it gives me great satisfaction to buy stuff here, which is more on the periphery, and then all ziplock them and put them into my in the cabin bag, like stuff that I'll take on the airline.
Yeah.
And that stuff will be going back to the Cape Town collection.
So you're going to be doing a huge reshuffle coming up. I mean, you're going to be doing an inventory when you hit Cape Town. You're going to be changing things up. And
getting my dupes over to Rob and Paul, my boys.
And a huge ARA admin, I imagine. Maybe a stock check.
I know.
No. I think it would be really nice if we both finished the collection during this show. I mean, you must be getting relatively close now if you've just bought a load of issues.
Didn't I say I was 60 issues out of having complete run? I don't have a burn on to getting them all, Ben. When they rise.
The compendium is about to drop, isn't it? Or has dropped?
It's dropped. People have them in hand in the States.
Yeah. Sorry, which one? So just the Skybound bog standard
the model run.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Not the Kickstarter.
The 1 to 50.
Yeah, the 1 to 50 is out.
Yeah.
Have they said when the next one is dropping?
Yeah. What do I know, man?
Yeah.
I don't care for these modern reprints.
No.
But I believe they're very nice. They do a newspaper style finish on the paper. So it feels...
I worry about the gutter loss, though.
Yes.
That gutter loss is brutal.
That has been remarked upon. Also, just condition in general that people are getting them in hand. But hey, if you're going to read the hell out of them, what does it matter if the corners are dog-eared?
I hope people do read the hell out of them.
Yeah.
I
Crack
hope
that spine.
I hope they're not just for shelves and mantelpieces. All of this stuff is designed to be read. That's where the real joy is. Collecting.
Well, folks in that position would keep their singles, their floppies, boarded and bagged, and read the compendium as the disposable version.
Yes.
That one can be destroyed freely.
But how much?
There's a sadness in there.
When you sit down and read a floppy and you put it on your face and you pull the spine open, I mean, how much wear and damage are you honestly doing from reading a comic book? Not like a savage, just reading it in a very normal way and then putting it back in its board and bag and back in your collection it goes.
If you have an immaculate comic on your hands and you want to keep it that way, you're pulling out the gloves, my friend.
Right.
No oils are going to touch that that original paper.
And is that coming from an investment point of view, as in you might want to sell it one day? Because if you don't want to sell it, then
I think maybe a lot of us are just that tightly wound about
I think it's
marring
more that.
a thing that was marring an old thing that was perfect until the moment you made a crucial error and put your thumb on like an inked black page.
Yeah.
And suddenly there was an indelible mark there, which is it's a sickness that we have. But can you deny that we have it?
Well, I always want to keep it on that fun side of things, because collecting can so quickly become, what you're actually into is the collecting part of it and not the actual, what the IP meant to you in the first place. And it's like, when you're just like filling holes almost, you're just kind of like, I need that guy because I don't really like him, but I need him.
I need the whole set.
Yeah, completists. I suppose.
Yeah, that's a strong compulsion too. Look, my final word on the subject of condition is that is why I love played with or read things. Mm-hmm. That's why condition plays a ever shrinking role for me, because I want the freedom to maybe put a bit of wear on my toy or my comic book and not feel like I've desecrated something holy.
Yeah. For sure.
So cheap and nasty is how I roll these days, Benjamin. Scotch tape down the spine et al. But hey, we are Chasing Joe. Where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me over on Instagram at BenFlyingRetro, or you can subscribe to my other podcast, People Who Play, available on Substack. And that show is booming right now, S-Jubs. It's a
good listen, if I do say so myself, and I do.
Going so well. And
bravo, buddy.
I see, I think a few people that watch this show have headed over, so thank you so much for doing that.
Do it. Tell them GI Joburg sent you.
As always.
Give me a kick.
How is the flagship? How is the good ship Joburg doing? What have you got coming up? What's going on?
Well, I think by the time this is seeing publication, we will have talked about the Firebats.
Ooh, nice.
The Cobra Firebat. Yeah.
Love that. Love this branch of Joburg where you're doing these spotlights. I was telling you to do that for so long because you were bi-weekly for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some might say fortnightly, but okay, if you want to be like a Yank. I always think bi-weekly is kind of confusing. Does that mean it's twice weekly?
I think fortnightly is as well. All of it's confusing. But yeah. And you've done your anniversary show, big success. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you. I think what I wanted to talk about this week before I had a work commitment that took me away was the 40th anniversary of The Terminator and how that affected my time with my toys.
Right.
Pretty profoundly.
Did it really? Okay.
Oh, boy. Well, let me not tip my hand any further. This should actually be the content of the next show. So maybe put that Firebat issue or episode on the back burner and talk about The Terminator.
Have you checked out the Netflix show? Terminator.
Oh, the
Zero,
the one set in Japan.
Hardcore anime, very hardcore.
I don't think I am really into the genre or into the franchise beyond the first two films. I've very much purified my take on The Terminator.
Right.
To just those two, because everything else is a pale imitation. They might be good stories, they might be fabulously presented, but like, given the option to watch that, or given the option to watch the 1984 original, or the immediate sequel.
Yeah, that first one. Oh, I love how different those two films are. The first one is a horror film, man. Straight
and it just
up.
grows in my esteem every time I watch it.
Oh, it's so good.
There's some ballsy guerrilla filmmaking, man.
Yeah.
Young James Cameron rolling the dice.
Yeah, for sure. Right. I've got to get out of here, S-Jubs. That was a great show. We will see you next week for more Chasing Joe.
Yo, Joe.
Yo, Joe.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.